Greetings and welcome back here to SteveDeace.com as we're wrapping up, and this time we think we really are, wrapping up our series of video vignettes on the potential Republican presidential candidates called Fatal Flaws. And what we're doing is taking a look at what we think are the biggest weaknesses or obstacles in the way of each of these people between them and winning the 2012 Iowa caucuses here in the first in the nation caucus state. And we're wrapping up this series with the one and the only Donald Trump. You know, a month ago, if you would have asked me, is he serious about this? I would have said, no way. But after watching what he's said and what he's done for the last several weeks, I've become convinced that he is indeed serious about running for president. Now, he brings with him a lot of strengths, not to mention money, which is the mother's milk of politics. He is a walking ATM machine, so he's really immune to fundraising numbers. He just has to write his own check. So he brings with him money, and he also brings with him a lot of name ID. But he also comes with him some baggage. Baggage like political donations, and a lot of them to Democrats, including really liberal ones like Charlie Rangel, Harry Reid, Rahm Emanuel. He's going to have to explain those things to people. Why did he do that? Also, he's been somebody that's been very in favor of either same-sex marriage or gay rights or pro-abortion in the past. And obviously those are issues in a state that is heavily populated by Christian conservatives. You know, that dog's just not going to hunt here in the state of Iowa. So Donald Trump has to show a Republican electorate that he's serious about being a Republican. Well, how could he do that? Well, he's got one example of what not to do from the last caucus cycle. Don't do what Mitt Romney did. Now, Mitt Romney spent 20 years setting up this presidential campaign with carefully crafted constituencies and donations and statements and campaigns. And then when he ran the numbers and realized in the last presidential cycle that the one thing that was missing was a social conservative, he decided to completely reinvent himself in a way that just wasn't plausible to a majority of Iowans and also a majority of Republican primary voters. And that's why, even though he's outspent all of his presidential competitors combined, he had very little to show for it when the primary season was over. So don't do what Mitt Romney did. Don't try to reinvent yourself. Don't try to pander to people. If I were Donald Trump, I would just tell the truth. I would just say, yeah, I gave that money to those Democrats because in my line of work, politics is a racket. And you basically have to pay off politicians on both sides of the aisle for them to leave you and your company and your employees and your money alone. Just tell people the truth. If I were Donald Trump, I wouldn't try to pander. I wouldn't try to flip-flop. I'd simply tell people the truth. If you're reevaluating where you're at on the life issue, then be honest about that. If you're not really reevaluating where you're at on the life issue, be honest about that. But then turn around and say, hey, I got a life issue for you. How about all the Islamic fascists that like to kill you? There's a pro-life issue for you. And you know what I'm going to do if I'm the president? I'm going to kill them before they kill you. So there's your pro-life issue. I'm not sure that he can win the Iowa caucuses doing that, but I know that he won't do himself the kind of damage that Mitt Romney did, which made him damaged goods the rest of the campaign. Iowans have a fierce independent streak. While those in the Republican circle, certainly the majority of them in these caucuses, are proud social conservatives, Iowans also do not like to be dictated to. They don't like to be pandered to. They don't like to be lied to. They like the truth. They want you to be honest with them. And a lot of times, if you're honest, maybe they won't support you. But they won't do to you what they did to Mitt Romney. And they did that to Mitt Romney because he wasn't honest. So Donald Trump comes both with a lot of pluses from just being Donald Trump, but also a lot of minuses as well. And in my opinion, the best way to overcome those minuses is just to tell people the truth and show leadership, something that is sorely lacking, both in this country, in the political class, and frankly, right now in this presidential race. Thanks for joining us right now at SteveDeace.com. Don't forget to email me, steve@SteveDeace.com. You can also find us on Facebook at Steve Deace and on Twitter, Steve_Deace. God bless.